Hello student, welcome to our physics discussion, that is physics in a smart way. So today we go in for a new subject, new chapter of 11th mechanics or 11th physics, that is work, energy and power. And this is the first video in that context. So far as work, energy and power is concerned, every one of you, if we are not too careless or too dumb, must be having some idea on that. And there are some very serious misconceptions in those also. Several months back, I had uploaded a video regarding work that you can find in that is hmm? It is food for thought. It is food for thought. You can go for that playlist. And that was one of that was involving one of my questions on work. Okay, so we start with the topic and everything will be discussed in a detailed way. So far as work, energy and power is concerned, it is there. I've gone for a bit of writing. It is better if our discussion will be starting with energy. Even if it will be slightly difficult for you to define energy correctly, but still then, when somebody uses the word energy or when we use the word energy, something comes to our mind. And that something is positive, not a wrong concept you can say. There are several issues like mass, which are simple, energy, and other things are also there, which are simple, but it is bit difficult to simply define them. If you are asked to define a mass, then it will be starting with evasive words like mass is the quantity of matter packed in a body and all those things, which mean nothing, practically from the point of view of physics. So similarly, when somebody asks you of energy, our books they try to cry howl like this, that energy is the capacity to do work. That means somebody is to find energy. If somebody is to find energy, then he or she has to go through the work. Without work, we cannot think of energy. So all those are evasive type. We may say cheating type of definitions, but still then one may not have a proper definition, simple definition of mass or energy. Still then, if somebody uses those terms, something comes to our mind that, okay, this is energy, this is energy. Now I do imagine the play of energy in the universe, all those things are there. So that is energy, and our books usually define it like this, that energy is the capacity to do work. Energy is the capacity to do work. Okay. So we go with that definition. So far as classification of energy is there, usually the classification also can be classified many times. It's a very serious issue. But normally we classify energy into two broad categories. One is mechanical forms of energy. Second is non-mechanical forms of energy. Mechanical forms of energy means the energy which must associate with things like force, motion, and all those things, all those mechanical movements and all those things. So those type of energy, they are known as mechanical energy. Other type of energy which do not involve directly force and all those things motion, we may say they are non-mechanical energy. They are not visible at least to naked eye. So in mechanical energy, we got two different forms. One is potential energy, other is kinetic energy. The potential energy also, it can be classified into two parts. That is potential energy due to position and the potential energy due to change in configuration. Second is kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is the energy of motion and all those things. If you come down to non-mechanical forms of energy, at present I am not interested to give so much of time to all those forms and classification and all that, then we got different non-mechanical forms. Some people say it is not a mechanical form. Some people say it is electromagnetic form also. Light, then sound, then thermal energy, all those things. There are many non-mechanical forms of energy also. Okay. In mechanical forms of energy, there are two broad categories. One is potential and kinetic, and potential can be subdivided into two forms. That is potential energy due to position and potential energy due to change in shape and size configuration. And second is kinetic energy, non-mechanical forms. That is the list is bit bigger. Okay, when you compare with mechanical forms, and usually we do know all those things. So let me remove all those things, and our job here is to go for the topic and basically to touch the physical quantity, that is work. I have started with energy, and because without energy this topic will be never complete. This topic will be never complete, and without energy many things of the universe they cannot be discussed simply. They cannot be discussed very simply. So I had started with the idea of energy. So let us get back to the work. So far as work is there, let us say we consider a situation, we got a mass or an object which is present on a surface, or sitting on a surface. A force acts upon a mass like this. Force is F, that is external force. And the mass undergoes a displacement. The mass undergoes a displacement, and that displacement that we see in this case is S. If you draw S backward, the so-called displacement seems to be horizontal in our case. That may be horizontal. If you take it like this, there is no harm. Then the angle between force and displacement is theta. If you draw the S line or F line. So as per the definition given in our books say work is said to be done when a force makes a body or makes a mass to be displaced by a distance or to have a displacement S, and the work is the dot product of force and displacement. Work is the dot product of force and displacement. Okay. By nature, work is a scalar quantity. It may be born out of two vectors, one is force, other displacement, but it's a dot product. And normally our books, they go a step further, whereas they say that is F magnitude into S magnitude into cos theta. We know they obey the rules of the dot product, Fs cos theta. But the thing is that our basic motive should be what is work? I think I had posed that question in that section that was food for thought. So what is work? When I remember when I was a student, way back in 1978 and 79, yeah, then this thing troubled me. Maybe work is kept at S and all that, force and displacement, but what it's to me, why I should consider work as so important. Okay, so thereby we see since then, before 1970s up to now, our books, they strangely are silent in this aspect. They should have been more forthcoming. Otherwise, if a student is genuinely interested on those issues, then, and if he or she doesn't get the answer to them, then the student will be harassed. Okay, just a minute. Okay. So if somebody goes to the, the real meaning of work, then so far as my view is there, it can be expressed like this. If we do not see the things like energy transfer, that means energy is getting transferred from one body to other, or energy transformation. Transformation, maybe in this case, maybe the energy is staying within one body, but that is changing from one form to other. Without energy transfer, without energy transformation, a lot of work in our material world will come to a grinding halt if we don't allow energy transfer and or we don't allow energy transformation. Okay, if I do not convert the energy or the chemical energy that I got from the food to sound, then our class cannot run. Similarly, energy transfer, you can think of so many cases. So without energy transfer, without energy transformation, our world cannot run. And when energy is getting transferred or transformed, these are two words, then the thing is that energy cannot be transferred or transformed in its pure form. Let us say body has got potential energy. In short, I am writing P. Suppose body A wants to transfer some potential energy to body B, then body A cannot give the potential energy to body B directly. As potential energy is not a tablet or something like this, or capsule like this, that A gives to B. Okay, B, you take it and you have it with half glass of water and all that, and then you will be getting potential energy. So whenever energy gets transferred from a body to another body, or whenever energy gets transformed in the same body from one form to another, energy cannot be transferred, or cannot be transformed in its purest form. Energy has to convert to work, and then work is done on the other body, then energy can finally appear in the form that is potential energy or kinetic energy or whatever it is. Okay. So thereby, somebody, if he or she says work is the form of energy at the time of transfer or at the time of transformation, mostly he or she won't be wrong. Work is the form of energy at the time of transfer or at the time of transformation. Okay. We can very easily see a case like this. Let us say we got a slope or something like this, a smooth slope or something like this, a smooth slope. Okay, there is a body at the top, and some of you have got some basic idea that because the body seems to be at a higher height, it must be having some potential energy. If let us say we want to convert, or the body wants to convert, body cannot do anything because the body is mostly not. We have to work, we have to intervene on behalf of the body. We want that body potential energy must be converting to kinetic energy. And what we do, we just make the body to start to slide. So when the body starts to slide on this slope, we clearly see the force acting on the body is the part of the gravity force which is parallel to the slope, and the body is going for some displacement. So because force is there and because displacement is there, this force is the component of the gravity force. mg of the weight. So thereby work is done. And finally, when the body comes down to the slope, the body will be getting a substantial velocity, and which confirms that it is having kinetic energy. So we see initially body was having potential energy, and then some work is done, and now you see the body is having kinetic energy. Body is having kinetic energy. So thereby work we can say that is, or very straight way we can say that is the form of energy, or energy stage in the form of work whenever it is getting transferred or it is getting transformed from one form to other. Okay, so that's all for today. Next class will be going to the use of all those things we have talked, or else we can take a few minutes. No, it's all right. So next class we shall be going to the so-called continuation of this topic. Thank you again.